Hey guys, I'm back. Lawrence Presman, the Prez. You're watching Puck Time with the Prez. It's our Monday show. Outstanding lineup today. The legend, Dave Cokin himself, joining us on a massive college basketball run. We're going to talk about that in a sec. And of course, my best pal, Carmine Bianco. Let's bring both boys in. Dave first. Now, Carm, and let's start with you, Dave Cokin. How are you, my friend? What's going on over there?
I'm all right. Right now, trying to piece together lineups for tonight in the NHL. We got a lot of guys out tonight, and we will talk about some of those missing players as we go through the games. It's a list of
we'll definitely talk about that. But before we get into that and Carmine Bianco, I just want to let everybody know. Every Monday, we're going to have a one-day only flash sale. That'll happen on my show, Drew Martin's podcast show, and Joe Ranieri's college basketball and NBA show. They'll be different on all three shows. The flash sale on today's show, Dave Cokin. 1 full year of all of Dave Cokin's plays for half price, regularly $2,000, $999. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Use the promo code PT999. And just to give you guys perspective, it's going to cost over $999 for just Dave's baseball season. So you could get every sport he plays for the next 365 days. That includes college football, which he dominated this past year. It includes college basketball. He doesn't play a lot of NFL, but it includes his NFL. It includes his hockey, his baseball. $999. That ends tonight at midnight. PT999. Carmine! You rhyme with 9.
What's going on?
Yeah, nine,
okay,
Carmine, there's a rhyme. Oh my God, it even rhymes with rhyme. I'm like a machine.
Yeah.
What?
This is, everything is going good. This is actually, believe it or not, the first weekend in a very long time where I didn't watch more than a couple of hours of sports. I'm going to call it an upper body injury. There's something wrong with my right eye. Not my actual right eye. It's the eye socket or something. I'm not really sure. I'm going to the doctor after this. 3-4 days, a little sensitive to light. So I'm, I didn't watch a lot of sports. I did watch, as you know, Prez, the ending, or I watched the game yesterday. I'm actually sick because I talk about getting lucky in games where you get that empty net goal, gives you the win when you have the over in a game, or if you have a team minus 1.5. But I had the dead under, and I think you did as well too in the Washington
Chicago
game.
Winnipeg game. Yeah.
And it was coasting along 2-1 after 2, and it looked good. And then 2 empty net goals in the last 70 or 75 seconds of the game sends that over the total with a 5-2.
Yeah, guys. I mean, just to let you know what Carmine is talking about, I'm on a 17-4 NHL run, 8-2 in my last 10, and I had the under in the Winnipeg Chicago game last night. It ended up 5-2 with 2 empty net goals. One of them with 15 seconds to go. I was utterly gutted. I mean, gutted. Carm, I took that loss bad, man. I mean, it was a stone cold under.
Yeah, it was, but we put an X on it and we move on to Monday. This is what Dave tells me all the time. You can't control the losses are losses. It works both ways for us. We can't be
let's move to Monday.
So we'll chalk it up as a loss.
Arizona on the road playing Montreal. Guys, we're going to do it all 6 games today. Montreal minus 130. The over and under here is 5.5. And, really nice win on Saturday night by Montreal. Pained me as a Leaf fan, but we did get a point. But Montreal was down 1-0 with a little over a few minutes to go in the third period. They tied it up. They won in overtime. Kovalchuk's playing outstanding. I don't know where this was when he was with the Kings.
Yeah. He wasn't playing.
Well, there you go. Now we know.
He played about, I think, 7 or 8 games, and then he was a healthy scratch for a month.
He looks good, Dave. I mean, he looks like he's got his legs back. His hand-eye's always been amazing. His stick work's always been incredible. He's been a hell of a pickup for Montreal, and it's almost too bad Montreal is kind of, on the cusp, because he would just be a absolutely perfect person to trade for them.
Well, look, he's still got offensive talent, and he's a power play guy. That's somebody you want out there who can make a difference in the power play. I still would not rule out the possibility, because Montreal's probably not going to make the playoffs. There's still a possibility that he could be of interest to somebody, especially with his contract. So we'll see what happens. He's done himself and the Canadiens some good. There's no question about that.
Dave, let's go to you first on this game. Arizona really out of the playoff position for the first time in a while. They've just had a complete free fall. They've lost their last 2 games, 6 of their last 8, 8 of their last 10. There's really no end in sight. They're in a back-to-back situation tomorrow against the Leafs. So, I think both the next 2 games for them are going to be tough. But I think they really need to get tonight's game. And it's for that reason that I'm not going to play Arizona, but I do like under the total. I think both teams must win mode, and we saw with Montreal, they're playing a tight checking game right now. 5.5 is the number. That's where I'm going, Dave, under the total. What about you, my friend?
Well, I don't know who's playing goal for Arizona. Darcy Kemper is about ready to return. He is with the team. So I would assume he will be in goal either tonight or tomorrow. That's going to be a big lift for the Coyotes, getting him back in. Kemper was having a great season until he got hurt. Antti Ranta's done a decent job, but he's the number 2, and Aiden Hill is still with the team. And I've mentioned this several times. The Coyotes, though, they've gotten away from the team they were. This was a team that was thriving on playing really close checking games, battling, playing tenacious defense, not really a team that was going up and down the ice. And then they made the trade for Taylor Hall, and they've turned into a team that goes up and down the ice, and to me that's not their style. They lost their identity, and they've not been the same team since. Now, one thing we know is they are a better road team than at home. So maybe getting back on the road is a good thing for them. Canadiens favored in the game. Not much I can do with it without knowing who's in goal. I don't want to go against the Coyotes in the game that Kemper returns. I think that's going to be a big lift for them.
Yeah. Dave Cokin, WagerTalk.com. Carmine, Bianco, my brother, what do you like in this game?
Looking at Montreal first, I really enjoyed that game on Saturday. And it's not just because of the Leafs lost that game, but Montreal played a phenomenal third period. They outshot the Leafs 16-1. I know the Leafs scored on their only shot of that period, but when you're playing a team like Toronto, a rival, a team that's vying for a playoff spot as well too, to outshoot them 16-1 in the third period, those are where games are won and lost sometimes, and definitely this is where they won that game. They're playing well. You know what I mean? You're looking at a team that's won, like, I think 6 of the past 8 or 5 of the past 7, whatever it is, to sort of give them a sniff of the, those wild card spots. Much like Dave, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they'd have to play at this level or above it to make the playoffs, and I don't think they can do that over the course of the next 26 games or so. They've got to go on sort of 8 of 10 spurts just to make up those points. When you're looking at the teams in 7th and 8th, maybe playing 500 hockey, you've got to play well above that to to even make up space there. But they're giving it a go. Arizona, like Dave mentioned, they were a very good, reliable road team, but they've now lost 6 in a row on the road. They've lost 8 of their last 9. With that win coming over the Panthers, they've lost their identity. The Taylor Hall deal has them playing a different style of hockey that I just don't understand. I just don't get it. It's likely Aiden Hill in net tonight. I think Kemper, if he's ready, he's gonna play tomorrow. Ranta's still dealing with some injury issues, so I think we see Hill tonight in net. I'm leaning with you, Prez, the under 5.5. There's a lot of 5.5s on the board today, and this is probably one of the legitimate ones if you're looking at an under. So there's not a lot of goals in Arizona's. If you look at their road games over the last 10 games, there's not a lot of goals they've scored. They've been shut out twice. There's like 3 2s, 3, and a couple 1s. Other than that win over the Panthers, so they're not really scoring on the road. And I think it's one of those things where they're in a bit of a free fall. I just don't see them coming out of it. So it's the under here for me.
He's Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com, and Carmine has a 5% hockey play up for tonight's card. That's the highest rated play we allow at the website. He did not bring me a WagerTalk mug from Vegas, which is a little bit BS.
I actually did bring you. Marco gave me 2 of these.
Well, I saw you Friday night.
I didn't bring it, but I also have some Leaf tickets for you for Thursday night.
Yeah, baby. I'm going to the Leafs tomorrow and Thursday. It's $9 Mondays over at Sports Memo and Wager Talk. Every play from every handicapper, only $9. Carmine's got a 5% NHL play up for tonight. You can have it for only $9. If you don't want to bet on Carmine's play tonight, that's fine. You enjoy him on the show. Tip him $9. Just go and buy his play. Call it a tip. And then don't even look. Just buy the play. Don't even look. He certainly deserves the $9. I don't pay him to be on the show every day.
I enjoy being on the show. It's fun. I enjoy actually commenting, when guys ask us questions in the comment section of YouTube. I don't really respond to the guys who either trolling or negative comments. I think they're coming from other shows and just trying to put us down.
Yeah,
but I pay no attention to it.
I think
there's
they
a lot
genuinely
of guys
don't
in
like
our
you.
comment section. There's a lot of guys in our comment section who are fantastic. So I love responding to these guys, and I get to do a show with Dave. Dave's awesome, man.
Yeah, Dave Cokin. He's our flash sale today. 1 full year, 365 days, only $999. Half price. Wager Talk PT 999. Dave, I'm going to go to you first on this game, and I honestly think this is pretty much the game of the night, especially from a standings perspective. We got Florida on the road at plus 115 against Philadelphia minus 130, and over and under of 6.5. And Florida's lost 3 in a row after a real hot run. And Philadelphia, wow, they just laid the smackdown on Washington in Washington. 7-2. They've won 3 of 4. They've won 5 of 7. 7 of 10. Both these teams are outside looking in. Philadelphia is tied with Carolina for the final wild card spot. Florida, 2 points behind Toronto, but 2 games in hand. Absolutely crucial hockey game. With that said, I feel like Philadelphia's got the mojo right now. I think Florida is a sell team. I like Philly minus 130, and I do, Dave, lean on the over.
Excuse me. And by the way, that flash sale, it's just a good thing that it's regarding picks and not me actually flashing. That would be...
why would you even give us that image?
That would be disgusting. So no thoughts of that. The Flyers.
Nobody was thinking that until you started talking about it. Now we're all in the washroom. Our listeners are heaving, vomit everywhere, projectile situation. Okay, Dave, go on.
Well, it looks like the Flyers get Carter Hart back tonight. And that's big. You know, he's been great at home this season for the Flyers, and his road numbers aren't very good, but at home he's been terrific. The Flyers, I like it when the starting goaltender, nothing wrong with Elliott, and Lyon even had a couple of decent games for the Flyers while Hart was out. But getting the number one back, especially on home ice where he's performed so well, I think that's big. And the goaltending could be the key here because, you know, it's looking more and more like the Panthers might have gotten the wrong end of the Sergei Bobrovsky contract. They haven't missed him a bit in Columbus. In fact, you can argue that if Bobrovsky was still the goaltender in Columbus, they wouldn't be in the playoff race. He has not been particularly good for the Panthers. His numbers aren't great, and we know from past experience with him, he's a bit of a head case. And when he's not playing with a lot of confidence, and I don't know that he is right now, he's a guy you go against. So I've got no argument to you liking the Flyers in this game. That's the side I'd look at.
Dave, is there a better name for a person from Boston than Carter Hart?
That's a good one.
Carter Hart.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, he literally should be the goalie for the Boston Bruins. Ladies and gentlemen, the starting goalie for the Boston Bruins, Carter Hart.
But no, he shouldn't be the goalie for the Boston Bruins. I like Carter Hart, but
I just like his name for you guys because you get to. I mean, it's perfect for the accent. Carm.
Trying to win the cup, and Tuukka Rask and Halak are better than Carter Hart.
Yeah, I know, but I know, Dave. Okay, everybody. Dave is on the serious horse. Carm.
When it comes to Bruins conversation, I'm going to get serious.
Okay, Carm. Do you like Carter Hart and the Philadelphia Flyers?
Yeah, the Flyers are playing really well right now. We knew at the start of the season they had a very good team, as a team that was likely going to make the playoffs, and now they're competing for a spot. Look at their last 10, 12 games. They've beaten the Caps twice. They've beaten the Bruins. They've beaten Pittsburgh. They've beaten Colorado. Lost 1-0 to Tampa Bay. They're winning games, and they're not winning against the bottom half of the league. They're beating teams from the top half, and they're winning games on the road, which they couldn't do earlier in the season. This Florida team, they've played so well all season, and then February hit, and it's like they've forgotten how to play hockey. Maybe it's the thing of playing at such a high level, with the exception of, if Frederik Andersen doesn't leave that game against Florida-Toronto on the 3rd of February in the first period after suffering that neck injury, we'd probably be talking about the fact that Florida's now lost 5 in a row. They scored 4 in that third period against Hutchinson and ended up winning the game 5-3, but prior to that I had lost 4-0 and 1-0, 7-2, 3-2. So this is a team that right now is struggling. The price is probably where it should be, just because at any point it seems like the Panthers can score. But the Flyers are one of the top, I think, 3 teams in the league at home with a home record wise. So I don't mind laying the $1.40 here. I'm not going to touch the total because, and I'll give a grand salami pick later. I don't know if it's going to go over 6.5 because Florida just isn't scoring goals. I had over 6.5 in the Florida-Pittsburgh game the other night, and it's 3-2 after 2 periods, and you figure
that was one of my losses.
It's going to go over, and it didn't. So it's one of those things. I'm going to stay away from that total, but Flyers here for me.
Carmine Bianco from WagerTalk.com. He's got a 5% play up in hockey tonight. It's yours for only $9. Head over to WagerTalk.com. No promo code required. Carm, I'll go to you first on this one. Washington Capitals coming off of a destruction at the hands of the Philadelphia Flyers, 7-2 in their home rink. They're playing the New York Islanders tonight. Minus 170 for Washington, and over and under of 6. And the Islanders, they're coming off of a 3-1 loss against Tampa Bay, but have won 2 of their last 3 games. And Washington is obviously in sort of almost coast mode, if you will. They are duking it out with Boston to get home ice for the entire playoffs. But the Islanders, they got to win this game. They're only one up on Philadelphia. This is an important game for them. I look at this game and I think I wouldn't want to play Washington after a loss, but New York Islanders are a good team. I'm going to outright pass. Where are you going with this one, my friend?
Yeah, it's a little interesting. When you take it on the chin like they did against the Flyers, you want to get right back on that horse and win. But again, this is another team that has been playing fantastic hockey throughout the season. And sometimes you go through that. We see a lot of the good teams like the St. Louis's and the Pittsburghs where you just have that 3 or 4 game spell where you lose 3 or 4 in a row, and then you just get back on that horse. They could very well lose again to a little bit better, some goals, but they're sharp. And the odd thing is, or interesting thing is, you look at these teams and their last 7 games between these two, the road team has won, and it's literally been a zigzag. It's going 7 back. It was Washington, then the Islanders, Washington, Islanders, Washington, Islanders, Washington, and now the Islanders are the road team. That can make it 8. I'm not saying base your wagers on a zigzag theory or road team winning, but it just goes to show you that a team like the Islanders can go into Washington and win. And they're plus $1.50. I don't know the mentality of the of this Capitals team right now, and whether this is one of those ones where they drop 2 or 3 games in a row. And there's no panic button on Washington. They're a very good team. The Islanders need to. So I'll take the 50 and see if they can pull the upset off tonight.
Carm's having a little bit of internet issues, everybody. We are getting it through slowly but surely. Dave, where are you going in this hockey game?
Well, look, as Carm mentioned, it's been a weird series where the road team just wins every game. Samsonov's going to be in goal for the Capitals tonight, from what I can gather. He's finally off a bad game. He actually had a loss against the Penguins. It wasn't a terrible game. He gave up 4 goals. But he'd won, I don't know. How many in a row had he won before that? 4, 7? He'd won 11 starts in a row before that. This is not the guy I want to go against. He's the best goalie on this team right now. He's just outplaying Holtby. It's as simple as that. And I'm still going to be really interested to see what happens come playoff time as to what the Capitals do. The thought is, well, they're going to ride Holtby, but I think Samsonov might be the better guy at this point. Capitals very good off a loss this season, as you would expect, but too much of a price for me to lay, especially given the Islanders' ability to slow things down and take the Capitals out of their game. So I think the value is with the Islanders, but I don't like the spot.
Dave Cokin, everybody, half price for a full year of his plays. He absolutely dominates college football, baseball, hockey. He's on a 13-3 college basketball run. This deal expires at midnight, so take advantage of it. PT 999. Dave, I'm going to go to you first on this game. And look, I'm fascinated with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Firstly, Arthur Fonzarelli is my favorite coach of all time. He can do to teams what the Fonz did to light bulbs. Bam! It's on. They're playing Tampa Bay, and man, I can't get in front of this. I can't get in the way of this Columbus team, flat out. You sit here and you're like, tale of two teams. The amount of skill on Tampa Bay, the speed on Tampa Bay, the way they play, absolutely phenomenal. They've won 6 games in a row. Yet this Columbus team, they barely lose. They lost to Colorado 2-1, but again, were able to shut down another team that can score. Their games are going under. I'm just going to stay away from this game, Dave. You?
Yeah, I had a big circle around Tampa because this is the first meeting since the playoffs last year. And that Tampa's got to be excited about it. And then you discover that, well, maybe they're not as excited about it as I thought, because they're not going to play Vasilevsky tonight. They're going to go, from all appearances, McElhinney's going to play tonight, and Vaz will go in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Stamkos is not going to play tonight for Tampa. And then you go to the Columbus side, and there's a gigantic red flag. Now, this team has, we all will agree that Tortorella has done a great job. They've overachieved, playing a tremendous fundamental style, not very exciting. At times, watching paint dry is more exciting than the Blue Jackets, but they're effective. And they've done this despite the fact that I think they're the fourth most injured team this year in the NHL in terms of man games lost. But now comes the injury that is the most critical. Seth Jones is the one guy to me who is indispensable on this team. They're just, you can replace the other guys. They've got good goaltending. They replaced Bobrovsky. Korpisalo is terrific. He got named to the All-Star team. Merzlikins has been fantastic. They've had some injuries up front, but they've been able to camouflage those. But the one guy on the team, to me, their MVP, their most important guy, is Seth Jones. And I would not be surprised if the Blue Jackets go into a slump, because losing him, and he's going to be out for a while, this to me is really critical. I can't play Tampa with McElhinney at this price. I mean, it's just absurd. Obviously, the bettors are looking at the playoff revenge thing, and they bumped the line up from like 132 to 160 something. I'm not laying 160 on the road. But I would be hesitant to play the Blue Jackets without Seth Jones. I think this is a very impactful injury.
Carm, I think the moral of the story is when the Prez says Nylander and Kapanen for Seth Jones, Columbus better bloody well do it. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. And the Seth Jones, injury. Ankle injuries are tough. He could be out quite a while, right? And like Dave said, that could spiral them. He's a big part of that team, big part of the power play, big part, of the scoring that they get. And this is a team that doesn't score a lot. I wish it was Vasilevsky in net, but I understand why they'd rather have him in net against Pittsburgh tomorrow or the day after. For me, it's an under here. I hate taking unders with backup goalies, but we saw this. The Tampa Bay is playing that style of hockey now, which I really like. They're playing all meaningful games, and I told you I've been on them since the beginning of January. I said, favorable schedules, and they're playing really well, and they're stringing wins. But the other thing they're doing is they're playing very well defensively as well too. You may not see it sometimes in the score lines, but they are playing very well, and they're winning games. And the ones they lose are very close 3-1, 3-2 type games to teams that also play defensively, like New Jersey, the Minnesota Wild, Dallas Stars. Those are the only 3 losses that they've had over the last 15 games or so. So for me, I'm leaning to the under in this game. I don't want to lay a price with Tampa on the road against this Jackets team, 165. I want to see how they play tonight. I'm interested to see, and I think more so than that Flyers Panthers game, I think this is the game of the night for me to watch.
Carmine Bianco, 5% play tonight, $9 over at WagerTalk.com. 2 more games to go. Carm, will go to you first on the Nashville-Vancouver game. Nashville minus 120 on the road. Over and under here is 6. Nashville's really been playing great hockey of late, guys. They are 1 win out of playoff position, and they have 2 games in hand on Calgary, 3 games in hand on Nashville, and 3 games in hand, on Winnipeg, and 3 games in hand on Arizona. So really, they're in control, man. And they are winning. They lost to Edmonton 3-2. They have won 2 of their last 3. They've won 4 of their last 6. And Vancouver's on a free fall. They've lost 4 in a row. Carmen, I go to you first. Surely Vancouver is going to start winning again. With that said, I watch this Vancouver team a lot, and there's a lot of skilled players on this team. They're very fast, but it really feels to me like they're a year away. I think when all's said and done, they probably will fall out of playoff contention. It looks to me like their offense is a bit messy. They skating all over the ice. They're not playing in their lanes. I think this team is just a bit too young. I lean on Nashville tonight, but you got to think Vancouver is going to get them a win at some point.
Yeah, no, listen, Vancouver was coasting along, then they hit the road, lost like 3 in a row, come home, and, let me tell you, Calgary Flames played a great road game. It's one of those things where, same thing, Calgary playing not so well at home, hit the road, and they played well on the road, but I saw enough warning signs from this Vancouver team, in those losses to the Bruins and to the Wild, to tell me that they were probably going to lose to the Flames at home. And, this is a team that had won 9 in a row. They've been playing again, another team that's playing above their heads. But I gave Nashville on the WagerTalk site as a free play today, and I'm sticking with that. I think they're playing much better, since Hines took over the coaching duties. You look at some of the games they lost, they were in control of that. They ran into a red hot, at least I think they are now, the Vegas Golden Knights. I think the Golden Knights are playing some very good hockey now, even though they did lose their last game. And they were in complete control of that game against the Edmonton Oilers, and then took some dumb penalties in the third period, gave up a couple of power play goals, and lost that game. So right back on that horse. I think they close out this trip with a win in Vancouver tonight. It's a very short price, which is good, but the price is where it should be, considering the Canucks had won, I think, 9 of the last 10 at home. I believe it is. So it's the Preds for me tonight.
Dave Cokin, my friend, $999 for a year of all your plays. That's as low as it will ever be, ever. Ends at midnight tonight. Anybody interested, use the promo code PT999. Dave, where are you going in this Vancouver-Nashville game?
Well, I agree mostly with what Tom said, and the odds makers do, or the market does, let's put it that way, because you've got the team with less points favored on the road against a very good home team. The last game for Vancouver, they scored on the first shift of the game against Calgary, and it's like, wow, here we go again with the Canucks, who've been a great first-period team at home this year. But the Canucks, they got out of that first period even, but you could tell by the end of the period, it's like, boy, Calgary looks like they might have their number in this game. Nashville has been a little bit fragile mentally, and this is what scares me tonight. They had been playing well, but now they're off a game. They just blew the game. I mean, they're in Edmonton. They've got that game won and just give it up in the third period. And they've had a tendency to string those types of losses together. I think the price, if you're looking at it from a value standpoint, you'd look at Vancouver, but sometimes value is a little bit tricky because the odds makers do a good job sometimes of, you can call it a fishy line, if you will. And I look at this line that way. I kind of lean Nashville because of that, but it's not a game I've got a great deal of confidence in. And part of that is that Vancouver, I don't completely agree with you, Prez. I think Vancouver is going to make the playoffs. They might have to settle for a wild card. I don't know if they can win that division, but they're really tough at home. And I don't really want to bet against them losing 2 in a row at home, so I'm going to stay out of it.
Dave Cokin, WagerTalk.com. Boys, one last game to talk about, Calgary versus San Jose. And Dave, I'll go to you first. I forgot to do a fade there. I'm talking, and Dave Cokin's the only one up on the screen. So many buttons to press to keep this show going. San Jose, 2 nice wins in a row. 6-3 against Edmonton, 3-1 against Calgary. We have a rapid revenge spot tonight. Calgary on the road playing San Jose. And, well, I'll make this bottom line play. My second favorite play on the board tonight is Calgary. My first favorite play is the one I'm betting on. You can get it at WagerTalk.com for only $9. Dave, who's winning the Calgary-San Jose game?
Well, Calgary, we just talked about the last game with Vancouver. That was a very big win for the Flames, especially when it looked like, oh boy, this isn't going to go well because they give up a goal on the first shift of the game, and they were coming off a very bad stretch of games, especially with those battles of Alberta, which they won one of them, but they really got their ass kicked in the second one. The worry I've got here is the first period, where Calgary continues to be a bad first period team. And this has been a big negative for them all year long. They're minus 14 goals net in the first period for the season. And you don't want to be digging yourself out of holes. In the one thing San Jose's done well is the first period at home, where they're plus 9 for the season. They do have a couple of wins in a row. I mean, this is last chance time, I guess, for the Sharks. I don't think they're a playoff team.
No.
But they have won a couple in a row. They do go to Aaron Dell tonight, who's been the better of their two goalies. Market says Flames. They're betting the Flames. I'm probably going to sit this one out.
Carmine Bianco, my brother, where are you going in this? And then we're going to get to the Grand Salami and Vivian's parlays and call it a show.
Vivian's parlays. Yeah, no. It's one of those things where maybe it's a sort of the rapid revenge thing. The Flames did lose at home to the Sharks. It's one of those games where they outshot them, and that doesn't really tell you who should win the game. Shots on goal.
No.
But that game against Vancouver, they did play well. Riddick's in net tonight, and I took Calgary and I gave that one out to my clients in Vancouver because I've seen this throughout the season from this team is they drop 2 or 3 in a row at home. They hit the road and they play so much better on the road. And Riddick should be in net tonight, and his stats sort of mirror. It's funny. It sort of mirrors what Calgary does on the road. He's won, I think, 8 of his past 10 on the road. The Flames. You look at the Flames themselves, and they won 7 of the past 10 on the road. They seem to be one of those teams, kind of like a Winnipeg, that struggle at home, hit the road, and they do well. This is a team that I think over their last 15-4 on the road, some big wins there as well too. So it's one of those things where they're going into San Jose tonight. Get out of that first period. If you can get out with the lead, I think they win the game. For me, total wise, I'm leaning to the under here. I think it's going to be similar to one of those sort of 3-1, 4-2 type games. I don't want to go over 6.5 here, or over 6 here. So, Flames in the under for me.
Okay, guys. Vice President time. Vivian's parlays. She did lose on Thursday and Friday, but did make money last week with her one big win on a 4-teamer. I think it was on Tuesday night. And she did win last night. She won a nice parlay. She tweeted it out. You can follow her on Twitter at VPrezman, VPrezman. Tonight she's got a big parlay. $10 pays $102. Montreal Canadiens on the 3-way line. They have to win in regulation, plus 105. Calgary Flames -1. Gutsy as hell. Means they got to win by 2 goals. -1 will make it a push. -1 plus 215. And the Washington Capitals on the money line at -170. Montreal Canadiens on the 3-way in regulation. Calgary needs to win by more than 1. And the Washington Capitals at -170. $10 pays 102. You can follow her at VPrezman. Carmine Bianco, Grand Salami me.
Grand Salami today, I guess it's 6 games, 7 games, 6 games.
Are you doing this right now? Is this the research going into it right now?
No, it's not. It's not the research. No, I think the point I was going to make is that I like many of the unders on tonight's card, and even the one where it's the biggest total of the night, the Panthers and Flyers over 6.5. I still like the under there.
Mm-hmm.
The Grand Salami is 36.5, and I'm going to go to the under 36.5 here. You have to lay it $1.09 on under 36.5. So that's what it is for me. And that's it. Let's try and make a couple sandwiches tonight.
I watched the Oscars last night. I bet Parasite to win the movie of the year. I am kidding. Who the hell can watch that shit? I'm the Prez. That's the show. Tomorrow we're hoping to see Alex. Who knows? But we do know Andrew McGinnis will be with us. Dave, you stepped in with absolutely 2 seconds notice, but the timing was perfect because little did you know I was going to run a PT 999 offer for you, whether you were on the show today or not. A huge congratulations on your college basketball run. 13-3 your last 16 plays. Phenomenal stuff.
Actually, it's actually 14-3 because they had Notre Dame yesterday, but haven't added that to the streak yet.
Well, that's
So,
on.
But one thing to note, because I always like to be upfront with this stuff, the play on Utah State on Saturday was a winner, but I don't know how many people won it.
Right.
Okay, so because the line moved, and that might have been a loss for a lot of people. So sometimes the grading works in my favor, sometimes it doesn't. That game, I think, to be honest, the grading worked in my favor more than the bettors. But we're still doing pretty well.
Awesome. Congratulations, brother. Everyone, make sure to buy Carmine's 5% play in hockey tonight. It's $9. I'm on a 17-4 hockey run. I've got a hockey play up tonight. It's $9. And a year of Dave Cokin, $999. It's the best price you will ever get, period. Dave's baseball season will be $10.49. $10.49. You literally are getting a whole year for less than what you would pay for his baseball season. Head over to WagerTalk, PT 999. Love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.